the other encouraging the South to come forward, whichever way they can, so that we can meet the financing needs of the global community. I give one example. Currently, from the development partners, we get ODA, overseas development assistance, nearly around 135 billion a year. For the LDCs, it's around 38 billion, very little. This is a peanut. This is around 2% of the 2% of the total cost that will incur if we want to achieve sustainable development goals, which will be around $5 to $11 trillion a year. Where should we get that money? So we asked the South-South countries that there are many emerging South-South countries who can, help us to come up with varieties of innovative ways of financing. So we brought them together, and also we won in Dhaka conference. In the MDG, we have seen that there was no monitoring system in terms of financing. So in the Dhaka Declaration, they want to form a forum of Finance and Development Ministers Forum of the South, so that they can evaluate and monitor the implementation of sustainable development goals. So we did all those things. And basic was how to have, in the South, there is technology, and you see affordable technology, pretty good. How to share those for the growth and achieve the sustainable development goals. The basic idea was to articulate the issues and bring about those issues at the FFD conference.
Well, you're watching Global Connections Television, which is an independently produced program. The opinions expressed on Global Connections are solely those of the moderator and his guest. We would invite our viewers to go to www.globalconnectionstelevision.com to view previous programs and also to make suggestions as to future topics and future guests. Today, my guest is talking about Bangladesh and the active role it plays at the United Nations and dealing with issues such as poverty, education, empowering women, and many other issues. My guest today is His Excellency Ambassador Abdul Momen. Ambassador Momen is the representative of Bangladesh to the United Nations. Your Excellency, we're talking about Bangladesh and the active role you're playing in this South-South Triangular Conference, a very important conference. And you were talking about financing. Did you discuss various ways of developing financing mechanisms to achieve the money, some of the money that you're talking about?
Did. We talked about the ODA. We talked about public-private partnership. We talked about how to involve the business sector. We talked about domestic resource mobilization. We talked about, the illicit finance, how to get the illicit financing. We talked about remittance, how to reduce the cost of remittance so that these countries get additional funding. We evaluated all different types of innovative ways of financing, how to leverage whatever ODA we have, how to leverage it as a catalytic agent and leverage additional financing from banking sector and others. So all these issues came up, and we also tried to mobilize the South-South countries. Because South-South countries in the area, we also talked about trade. In the trade, duty-free, quota-free access to market access could immediately help many of the, from my own country, Bangladesh, for example, thanks to European Union, they have provided duty-free, quota-free access to their market, but USA has not done it. Each year, we pay around $860 million to the US government as tariff, and not the public gets the public are the common consumers in USA, they are affected because they pay more money, you see. So if this is given, Bangladesh is an LDC, largest LDC. If the US provides us this duty-free, quota-free market access, then immediately we have around $900 million cash there, which we can utilize for achieving many of the development goals, the SDGs, So we discuss all those issues in a very positive way. And the other important issue we talked about, technology transfer, because technology is a vehicle for growth. And most of the technology is in the partners countries, in the private sector. So we talked about if they entice the private sector to share those with the developing countries like Bangladesh, it could be a win-win. The other one, we talked about the FDI, foreign direct investment. Since we are, LDC, least developed country, many companies, Western companies, don't like to go to us. But I give one example. This is a gold mine. If you go there, it will be a win-win situation. One example, we have telecommunication area. No one was willing to go. Suddenly, a Norwegian company finally agreed to go there. Once they went there, you see now they are minting profit. They are, you see, siphoning. They are transferring more than $1 billion each year at net profit. Why? Because we have around 113 million cell phone subscribers, and they pay. This is a gold mine. But unfortunately, many development partner industries don't want. So we are also asking the development partners that they should request their corporations, the business sector, to go invest in those countries. Not only for us, it's for there also. They have job problem. Like in a Norwegian company that I said, while it has created such a big market, repatriating more than $1 billion to their home, they're also selling all those their products, keeping their economy growing and giving employment to their own people. So it's a win-win situation for all. And that's what we also came up in our conference in the Dhaka, South-South and Triangular Cooperation Conference.
Exactly. Now, you mentioned earlier the Financing for Development Conference is going to be in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, next month. What would you like to see? It's difficult to predict what some of these conferences are going to come up with recommendations, but what would you like to see come out of that conference as far as assisting with what we've been talking about up to this point?
You see, the global community has set certain goals, that we want a pro-people, pro-planet, more equitable, more inclusive, peaceful, sustainable world for all. This is what no one left behind. Because we are ashamed that so many people still go to bed without food. You see, 1.2 billion people is below the poverty level. So these are shame for us. We have all the resources. So how to achieve those goals? 17 goals that we have set up for our sustainable development for next 2015 to 2030. How to achieve those goals? In the Addis Ababa Financial Summit, the third International Summit on Financing for Development, we'll evaluate all ways and means as to how to have financing so that they can meet the sustainable development goals. So those will be, and we think there will be some political commitment. Because without a political commitment, we cannot achieve our goal. So hopefully we will try to work out a political commitment so that we can have enough resources to meet the needs, the financing needs as well as means of implementation for sustainable development goals that we are going to adopt in September.
Exactly. Now, years ago, the countries pretty much agreed upon 0.7% as of the Overseas Development Assistance, ODA, I think that's correct. Yeah. And where are we on that? Some countries have met that goal, but it's really only a handful, and most of them are the Scandinavian countries, as I recall.
They did.
But where are we on that?
You see, the development partners decided that they would provide 0.7% of their GNI to the developing countries as overseas development assistance. Currently, it's around 0.3%, not 0.7%, because they have not met. Only, so you're right, only 6 countries could meet their commitment. So we are still away, far away. And our development partners have been facing a lot of financial crisis. And as a result, they could not meet even what they have paid in 2008. Is always last year, whatever they paid is around 12 to 15% below than the year before last year, and it is very little. I said this ODA that they give, ODA is around $135 billion a year now, so which is around 1.8% of the need for achieving the sustainable development goals. So you can see it's a 2%. Where can I find 98% resource? So the ODA is not enough. It is not. But for many LDCs, ODA is very important because their budget depends almost 90% on ODA for the LDCs. So what we are asking is we have to look beyond ODA. We have to look for private-public partnership. I understand there are $400 trillion floating in the private sector. Unfortunately, those have not been invested. We could not entice them to achieve these. So now what we are looking is, we are trying that we should bring business sector in the same platform so that they can be a part to the future we want. a future that no one left behind. That will help them also. I give one example, Marshall Plan. We started IBRD, World Bank, and in a piecemeal, and it was not helping revitalization of Europe. To reconstruct and revitalize Europe, what the US did, they did an excellent job. They came up with Marshall Plan, infused $6 billion. Immediately, whole Europe, reconstructed, revitalized, and it helped USA. You see, it's a win-win situation. So we want now a win-win situation for whole global community. Everybody should be the winner. And the only way is if there is a good partnership, good political commitment. And the concept should be not you win, or it's not a zero-sum game. It's a win-win situation for all.
Exactly. It's very, very important to do that. And it's a partnership. That is exactly right. No one country can combat climate change. No one country can move in with enough financial resources to provide employment for everyone in a particular country. But it's absolutely critical that we work on these issues together. And of course, Bangladesh, as you mentioned, you have a lot to contribute, but you have some major challenges before you, especially with a large population and an area that is going to lose a fourth of its country to climate change, to the rising seas, which is really a major, major problem. In the last, I hate to do this to you, in the last 20 seconds, what, over and above climate change, what is the number one problem confronting Bangladesh today?
Our number one problem is one is the threat of climate disaster. The other one, we need to manage our population, quality education, and improvement of human resources. If we can improve these human resources, we have around 9 million people working all over the world as expected level. If we can improve their quality, their management skills, then you see it would be good for the other host country as well as the home country. It's a big challenge. Naturally, government is putting a lot of efforts on improvement of the human skill. Also the technology, the computer, the digital. Bangladesh has taken a new vow to have a digital Bangladesh, that all people of the country would be smart in digitizations. And government is providing free laptops. One laptop, one dream. And we are looking forward to that.
Well, Ambassador Abdul Momen, Permanent Representative of Bangladesh to the United Nations, I want to thank you so very much for a very interesting and very informative program. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Bill Miller. Thank you for joining us today on Global Connections Television.